In this video, I want to show you how to have throttle control like a pro. What's up, Rad family? I'm Dakota Freeman, and welcome to the Rad Adventure Dude channel. It's so important that when we want to learn how to go faster on our dirt bikes, that we learn the proper throttle control. This way we can get on the throttle and not have our back wheel spinning out, and we can actually have better traction with our dirt bike. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So when we're first going over our dirt bike throttle control, we need to know that it's a full turn throttle for a reason. And you don't have to always just turn the throttle from 0 to 100 every single time. I actually like to suggest that we roll the throttle on as we're coming out of corners and when we're getting on the throttle normally. This way your power can be a little bit more mellow and not just so aggressive every time we turn the throttle on. So when we're rolling on our throttle, we actually want to focus on smoothly increasing the throttle as we're coming out of the corner. This is going to be huge to making us have more traction when we're coming out of the corner, and that whenever we turn the throttle on, that we don't just slide the back end out and break the tire loose. This is good if we want to do a power slide or something like that, but since we're trying to have the most throttle control here, we really want to focus on keeping the back wheel from spinning, and this is what's going to give you the most acceleration as you're coming out of the corners. Especially on 4-strokes, it's really good to do this, because the way the power works on a 4-stroke is going to be kind of more mellow anyway. And as we just want to have the most throttle control, we just want to make sure that we roll the throttle on nice and slowly and be able to accelerate without having the wheel spin. An important thing that we can do with our riding position to actually increase our throttle control is going to be where we put our weight on the bike. If we're trying to have more traction out of the rear wheel, we'll actually want to get our weight a little bit farther back. And if we're in a corner or trying to have more control over the front end of the dirt bike, we're going to want to be farther on the front of the dirt bike. So as we ride and as we get better with our throttle control, we're going to learn exactly where we want our bodies when we're trying to get on the throttle. Whenever I'm coming into a corner, I like to slide my body weight forward, and this is going to give me more control over the handlebars and more control over the front end of the dirt bike. Once I've gotten the dirt bike around the corner, and I'm ready to get back on the acceleration, then I want to shift my weight farther back over the rear wheel. This is going to be a huge step to actually giving more weight on our rear wheel and making sure that we don't spin out our back wheel and we keep good traction with the rear wheel. As I'm getting on the power, just like I said at the beginning, I'm going to roll the throttle on, and that's just going to make sure that I don't put too much acceleration to the rear wheel and start spinning it out. And then as I begin to just roll on the throttle, I'm going to pick up the acceleration level and be able to get down the straightaway as fast as possible. You can also shift your weight around on the dirt bike like this when you're standing up. When you're standing up and you're coming into a corner, same thing applies. We want to shift our weight a little bit forward and continue standing. And as we're going down a straightaway and we're standing on the dirt bike, we actually want to shift our weight back. We never want to get our head too far away from the handlebars. Our head should always be kind of directly over the handlebars, and our back and our butt should actually be the ballast that we're moving forward and back to be able to put the weight in different places on the dirt bike. So as you can see, our body weight is actually huge to our throttle control and how we get the most traction out of the dirt bike possible. So practice this over time, as it's going to be a very important step to having the most throttle control and actually getting the most acceleration out of your dirt bike. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. The next thing I want to cover about our throttle control is what do we do if we're actually in too low or too high of a gear? Well, if we're in too low of a gear, we'll actually get on the throttle and you're going to hear the RPMs be at too low of a range and really not give you good acceleration. So what we need to do in this instant is either shift down a gear to be able to get into a better gear for this RPM range, and then this is what's going to really get you accelerating better on your dirt bike. If we're kind of close to where we have good acceleration but it's still just a little bit low in the RPM level, we can tap our clutch, and just simply tapping the clutch, you don't have to pull it all the way in or anything like that. All you have to do is just simply tap it, and then that's going to actually help pick up the RPM level. And as long as you're pretty close to the gear you need to be in, this could be all you need to actually get the RPM range up higher and give you the acceleration you're looking for. If you go to get on the throttle and all that you get out of the dirt bike is acceleration, then we're really going to want to shift up in the gears to give us a gear that has a little bit better top speed instead of just all acceleration. So in this case, if we get on the power and it's just at such a high RPM level that we really need to shift, then we need to go through the operations and shift up into a higher gear to actually be able to get on the throttle and have plenty of acceleration and top speed to go the fastest out of the corner. So knowing what gear you're in when you're coming into a corner or going down a straightaway is going to play a huge part in our throttle control. If we're in the wrong gear and we go to get on the throttle, it's either going to be too responsive or unresponsive. So as we get better with this and continue working on our gears and what gear we need to be in, you're really going to develop much better riding skills, and it's going to make you a better dirt bike rider naturally. So the main thing that we need to focus on when we're thinking about our throttle control and how to have the best acceleration is going to be rolling our throttle on and actually making sure that when we put the throttle on that we're in the right gear and that we're not spinning the back wheel and losing traction this way. We also want to think about our body position on the dirt bike and how we can shift our weight around to get the most traction out of the wheels as possible. Then we always want to make sure we're in the right gear so we can get on the power and have the proper acceleration and top speed to go the fastest out of this corner. So make sure you work on your throttle control over time and really develop this into your riding. You really need to have good throttle control before we even get out on the tracks and trails, and this is really going to make you a much better rider. I'm so proud of you for putting this time in and becoming a better rider and really wanting to learn how to ride your dirt bike. If you're still looking for more dirt bike riding tips, I'm always here. I've made a full dirt bike riding course over on my website that's going to walk you through being a complete beginner and take you to an advanced rider mastering the tracks and trails. You can also find all my rad merch over on the website as well. If this helped you, make sure you like this video, drop some comments down below, and ask me any other questions that you have. Make sure you click the subscribe button that's right here and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. After that, you can watch my next video right here. Stay rad, and I'll see you over there.